Hi, I'm Steve Sapato, and you're listening to the Speaker Talks podcast for speakers, authors, and businesses who want to learn and grow in their business. Being the expert in your field is not enough anymore. You have to be visible, you have to be seen, and you have to be recognized. And that's what Speaker Talks is all about, helping you become the expert, the recognized expert in your field. Hi, I'm your host, Steve Sapato, and we're here to talk about some wonderful things today to help you grow your business. Today with me, I have Joanne Weiland, and Joanne, you're sitting right here, so I don't have to introduce you. You know, if we're taking out the audio, but we're on video right now. And Joanne, tell us a little bit about you, would you?
Well, Steve, I just always have been a people person. I just love connecting with people. So I just think that's my probably biggest thing I love to do is learn about different people, what they do, how they do it, why they do it.
You know, and Joanne and I met and talked about some things. That's why I have her here on the podcast, because when we talk about what holds most people back, whether you're a speaker, whether you're an author, whether you're an entrepreneur, no matter what you're doing, some of the things that genuinely hold us back are actually how she describes her business. Now, her business is LinkToExpert.com, right? .com. Okay,
Yes.
LinkToExpert.com. And how do you describe what you do?
I would say in one word, collaboration.
Collaboration. And she says she helps people to eliminate, automate, and delegate so that we can focus on the stuff that we need to accomplish. And let's face it, you and I know that there are lots of things we're not good at. I'm not good at organization. If you look at my desk, I got all kinds of file folders here that my wife helped me set up, and then I got piles of stuff still here that shouldn't be here because
Right.
they should go in a file folder. But there's some things that we just aren't good at. And if you recognize what you're not good at, and then you automate, eliminate, automate, and delegate, you can probably work on what's your strengths. So as my strengths are teaching people how to be great speakers, how to be great presenters, so you stop all boring meetings, then that's what Joanne can help you do. Joanne, tell us, how long you been doing this? You know, how'd you get here? You know, what's your story?
Well, it's funny you say that about filing and organization, because mine was always spreadsheets. In other words, I was in sales, and back in corporate America, most of the time, I don't know if you ever noticed, but Steve, they would usually, whatever you weren't good at, they would try to help you get better at. And then instead of working on your strengths, like me, I love to cold call. And I was probably the only one in, no kidding, hundreds of people in a call center that love to call out. But what would they do? They would still send me to classes to learn to do Excel spreadsheets better. And so I'm like, listen, if you would please just, give me more assistance and somebody could do my spreadsheets, I can sell more.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Can't you guys just figure that out? If you'll do this, I'll do this.
and I'll be in heaven because I'll be happy doing what I do, and you'll be happy because I'm doing what I do well.
That's right. That's exactly
And I'll be making
it.
you more money because they can do the spreadsheets because they're good at it, and they'll be happy because they don't want to cold call.
Yeah.
So that's just one example of what got me going with this. But I really saw this over and over at corporate America, that I traveled for 20 years, over 1 million miles. Mainly back then, you would do eyeball to eyeball, like how we're now on Zoom, but you physically made an appointment and visited your customers. Anyway, the point is, I saw this, what we're talking about, over and over, not just the owner, but also the executives, but even the people under them. For an example, just say a bunch of programmers really were doing a good job creating all this new software. And then they thought, oh, this guy's doing a really good job. Let's promote him to the software development manager. Well, he didn't really like people.
That's right.
And he loved
right.
programming. And all of a sudden, he had to manage all these people that were used to be his peers, number one. And number two, he would make them cry, because of the fact that it wasn't that he was so mean. It's just that he didn't have people skills. He didn't know how to communicate with them. He just knew how to tell them, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just an example. And so I saw a lot of this going on, and I saw a lot of ideas over the 20 years that I did that. that I would say so many of them had incredible ideas, but Steve, I would say only about 5% of them implemented the ideas.
Yeah,
So
why?
this was another extension of why I wanted to do this. Well, it turned out that I found the average executive or business owner worked in their business, not on their business.
Oh, yeah.
So when they would work in it, they were always busy. Maybe they did go to one chamber meeting a month, and they sat with the same 5 people. So they really didn't know that many people. So when they had this incredible idea, those 5 people didn't really know how to help him or know somebody that could help him. Because I found the 5% that did implement their ideas hired an expert to help them, hired a consultant, a coach, a trainer, somebody to come in and make this transition happen. Maybe they merged with somebody and they, make the merger
Well,
smooth.
isn't that one of the keys to our success is finding your strengths, right? Finding my own strengths and capitalizing them, finding my own weaknesses and getting somebody else to help me with those. That's why when we talk about building a successful business, one of the things we talk about is finding people that you team up with who really excel in your weaknesses, and they should be looking for somebody the same way. So if I'm trying to build a speaker business, I don't necessarily want another speaker who's really great at speaking, but also sucks on promotion or sucks on finding clients, cold calling, or sucks at filing, right? So I don't want somebody like that, because we don't need 2 speaker coaches. We need a great speaker coach, a great bookkeeper, right? A great file system, a great person to bring in the clients, a great cold call, and that's
Right.
when we talk about building our business, we talk about putting together a team, and that's what you are all about with this. It's
We
linked
call
to
it a collaborative,
LinkToExperts. Yeah.
right?
So tell
A
us a little bit
collaborative.
about LinkToExpert. What do you offer us?
So when those 5% hired somebody, I wanted to know how they found them. And I couldn't find how they found them. They usually just knew somebody or somebody knew them. There was no rhyme or reason. There was no resource. I even looked and looked and looked, because my original mentor was Norman Misappeal, and he always said, if you find a need, fill it. So I felt like I found a need. Anyway, long story short, I couldn't find any resource to be able to find different experts. And so I created one. And that was back in 2002. It's
Oh,
called Commanded View. That's still the name of our company. LinkToExpert is just the platform, the portal to do all of this stuff. The attorneys suggested we actually created a new name and entity to describe exactly what that does under the umbrella of Commanded View. But the point is just what you just said, because the other part of it, on the other side of the coin, that I always saw from traveling, I got to be at the conventions, the conferences, the trade shows. Back then, again, you did everything online. You
well,
didn't
sure. You did
actually
everything in
see
person, yeah.
I mean, in person. You didn't
Yeah.
get to see everything online. So if you wanted to see a new product or whatever, you would go to a trade show and, the conventions and conferences. So I got to also get to hang out with people like you, incredible speakers. And I would get to hear what you guys all said, and I would get all pumped up, and then, no, for real. But what I also saw was a lot of them could speak, and they didn't really help you in your business like we're talking about. And so what I really wanted to find is more people like you that coach and speak, because you could teach them. Because a lot of times we want to, like you said about all your files, a lot of people, they come home from that conference and they just put that pile of information they learned on the side of their desk, and they think they're going to implement that one day. Well, because they're not good at it or really know how to do it, they don't do it.
That's right. That
So,
pile sits there until you finally get tired of looking at it, and you either file it away or you throw it away, right?
right.
But you almost never go back and do what you said you were going to do. I mean, that's
Exactly. So that's why you need somebody like Steve that can not just tell you how you're supposed to do it, but also help you put a system or process together, or whatever it is that's needed for that particular idea or that particular project. So anyway, that's how this whole thing started. If you want to fast forward then to 2007, what was happening in those 5 years was, a lot of times it would take months to be able to get the connection. Remember, I'm a connector.
Well,
So I would,
and that's the point. I've got a virtual assistant called Roberta Lopez. Now, if I said, hey, she's a fabulous virtual assistant, go hire Roberta Lopez. First of all, even if you went to LinkedIn or you went to Facebook and you look up Roberta Lopez, there's probably 40 Roberta Lopez's out there. Trying to find somebody is difficult. So when I found her, I'd already been, and I was snooping for 2 years. You know how you say, I wonder how much that would cost. How can that help me? Because I'm a nutball for how do you explain your business? And that to me is the key to your success. Is so if I were to ask, well, as a matter of fact, I bet you I asked 20 different virtual assistants. So tell me what a virtual assistant does and how you might help me. And they'd put in, oh, I do, blah, 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 and they put in like 40 things that they do. And first of all, I'm overwhelmed, and I'm like, well, that didn't really help. Right, because they put down what they did, and they almost never. Well, and I can help you in all these areas. What does that mean? What? And one day, I put out an ad that said, "I'm looking for someone who can help me sell, my SpeakerTalks and fill seats put butts in the seats."
Right.
And I said, if you know somebody, if you are that person, please connect with me. Well, that's out of frustration because all the times of asking these virtual assistants, they all went, this is what I do, and they spew it at you. And responding to this one ad, this one person, Roberta, wrote to me and said, Steve, I'm responding to your request for being able to put butts in the seats. I believe I can help you. Let's have a conversation.
Ooh,
that we talk. See, we had a talk. I mean, that's exactly how I approach people. Let's have that conversation. And once we talked about it, she said, I can do this for you. What you need is this, this, and this to help me get the list or help me make the calls, and I can do all that for you. And then she told me how much she costs, and I went, okay. Because you go from a solopreneur to, I've got a guy who works LinkedIn, so I'm already paying X amount for this guy. I've got somebody over here who is paying for that. You already have your accountant, so you're paying for this. So you're like, wow. Am I going to make enough money? That's what most solopreneurs are afraid of. Am I going to make enough money to justify this, or am I going to lose money by hiring that person? And so, anyway, long story short, when I put her to work, she's been fantastic. But that's what you do. You find those people for me?
Well, yes and no, both. Just what you just described is perfect, because a lot of times, like you said, people just list their credentials. They list what they can do. And, so twofold. What I always saw from doing that 20 years on the road, I was actually in tier 2 distribution, meaning I would work for companies like Intel. They would sell to a distributor, they would sell to a reseller, and they would sell to the end user. So you can see there's multiple layers. So I had to learn to do push and pull marketing is what we call it. Now you, Steve, just described it in the real world of today, okay? And it's so true. So we do both. We want, when our members of LinkToExpert, which are consultants, coaches, team builders, trainers, facilitators, authors, etc. Okay, but we call them the expert rather than say all that every time. So I do my best to teach them. Every week we send them an email of how to market yourself. But just what you described, say what problem you solve for executives and entrepreneurs. Okay, how you do it. Give me maybe a story, an example. In information that we then distribute to tens of thousands of people, we often reach hundreds of thousands of people with your message of what you can do for other people and why. And then in reverse, when a person is looking for a type of expert, they want to see what they can do for them, what they've done for other people like them. And then even what, like you said, then let's get on the phone. So what we do is you can find the expert now, check out other credentials when you saw what they can do, and then do what we call a 7-minute strategy session. You can actually talk longer, but Steve, the reason we say 7 minutes, so you can really do what you just did with Roberta. You ask, what your problem is, say, how would you solve it in a, just give me a summary of what you would do. And with that, you can decide if you're the right fit, because trust me, there's both sides. Sometimes you're not the right fit for the client because of the fact that they're not coachable. And since you're a coach, you might want to not work with them, because you'll know, even no matter what you do, they're not going to change. And
That's
then they're
right.
going to say they want their money back, because if they're not willing to change, and you did teach them what you know, but that doesn't mean they applied it. So that's the other reason we do the 7-minute strategy session, so you can learn from each other what you can do for each other, and if you are the right fit. And sometimes it comes down to culture, backgrounds, different things, because what used to happen to me a lot, and then not as much anymore, but a lot of people still, they want them to be the same. Like you just described another real life scenario, because if they're an executive, they want somebody else to talk about the big picture. Oh, don't you want to see what I did? And that's cool. So, and they kind of want that person they're hiring to be their buddy and show them all this great, mind mapping that they did and everything for it. Well, unfortunately, that other person that can really help them, if they get caught up in that, they're not doing the details of the mind mapping. So they really need the person that can do, like just using your filing again as an example, that can do the detail work. And there's good people that are good at details and people that are good at big picture. That's why we have both. Look at Walt Disney. I mean, his brother did all the details. If he
Yeah,
wouldn't have
most
had
people
his
don't
brother,
know that. Yeah, most
yeah,
people don't know that Roy did the work. Yeah.
yeah. So Roy, for 9 years they didn't even talk, because of the fact that Walt was such a big thinker and he filed bankruptcy 5 times. But Roy just like, no, we can't afford that. No, we can't do that. But you do actually need both, what I call both sides of the brain type of
Oh,
people.
yeah.
And multiple, not just one, but like you said, there's different
So
people.
what do I need to do? Like, we've been talking here for 20 minutes.
Okay.
What do I need to do, right, to find out exactly what you can do for me? Or what do I need to do to look at where do I go now to get information farther? Do you have a website?
Yeah, it's called the web portal, LinkToExpert.com, link, LINK, to expert, EXPERT.com. And I say TO because some people think, it's different ways. And that's okay, because it should redirect.
LinkToExpert.com is where I should go to look at your website.
Right, it's a web portal, and that means that every member, meaning the experts, the consultants, coaches, team builders, trainers, facilitators, authors, each have their own website within our web portal. Think of when you go to in a city with a big skyscraper.
I'm still missing exactly why I should go look. I got speakers and authors, entrepreneurs listening, and they're still going, explain to me exactly why I should work with you.
To find an expert when you need them, because even when you're an expert, you need other kinds of experts.
Okay, so they're on demand?
They're on demand.
So I don't have to sign a contract for 6 months or 12 months with somebody?
Well, every one of them depends, because there's still individual business owners within our platform, within our portal. So that depends on the individual, but meaning they're for project work, Steve. They're not for that you hire them as an employee.
Gotcha.
That's the difference.
Okay, so here's how I'm looking at it now. You tell me if I'm right or wrong. I go I don't know if have you been on any of these summits since we've gone viral? Yes. Okay, so I got either 100. I was on the other day. 124 people down here, right? But usually, let's say 17 people in the screen that I can see. And so, if that 17 people is your portal, okay, then one of them might be an accountant, one of them might be a file project manager, one of them might be an advertiser, one of them might be this, right? And so then I can look at what each one of them does. There's a thing on each one, so I can read or access their videos to see what they do and how they might help me.
It's easier than that. You do a search. So like if you knew that you wanted to find Roberta, like you did, you would look for somebody that maybe, in her case, you called it a virtual assistant, but you would see how they did different things, because within our platform, not just would you find what she does, but you would see everything about her. We have 36 different ways you can read about that person, watch that person, or listen to that person, because many of them are on interviews or videos, as well as you can see all their credentials. You can see testimonials about them, what they've done for other people in video form, in audio form, as well as written form. We try to put everything in one place. So when you're trying to make that decision if Roberta's the right place, you can look at all this on her one website within LinkToExpert.
Gotcha.
And
So,
then she's the right one. Then you call her.
okay. So, it costs me to join this portal.
Not if you're looking for someone. No, it's free.
Okay, so it's free. So I can go look for somebody for free. That's pretty cool. So if you're a speaker or an author or an entrepreneur and you need some advice, some information, you can go to them. Now, do they have coaches on your portal? Do they have speakers on your portal? Do they have authors on your portal?
Yes, yes, and yes, and yes. All of them. No, well, and the other thing is when you said even about that, a lot of times people are known more as the expert when they wrote a book, and so we also have a store. Everyone that's a member, meaning the coaches, consultants, team builders, trainers, speakers, facilitators, authors, they actually can sell all of their electronic products and services on LinkToExpert too. So you too, that when you're looking for Roberta, you can see if she's written any white papers, if she's written any tips, if she's, that she's selling. Because a lot of times people will even buy tips now more than they will buy a book. A lot of people don't want to sit and read a 300-page book, but they'll pay more for just give me the top 10 tips on that particular subject. So as you create them, meaning the expert side, you can actually upload them on your store immediately and start selling them. Because again, we distribute the information to tens of thousands of what we call decision makers, people that hire you.
Okay, so if I wanted to be a supplier, if I wanted to be on your portal, then I go there and sign up?
Yes, but you have to qualify because you have to really, walk the walk because of the fact we're saying you're an expert. So there is a qualification process. Steve, like you having the, 20 years coaching, 40 years, I think it is
20
coaching.
years, so kind, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was 20 years speaking the way I remember.
40 years speaking and the last 3 with SpeakerTalks, yeah.
Right. But you also been doing coaching for like 20 years.
Oh yeah, coaching for 20 years, yeah.
So, but that's the kind of thing, not that it has to be that number, but the average expert has to have at least 5,000 hours in their area of expertise. And that usually equates to about 5 years to 10 years, because really a lot of them have more than 10,000 like you. And that's usually 10 years that they've been doing what they do.
Because one of the challenges we face, I've been saying this now for last few years, which is people put themselves out as expert. I worked with a group and I still see them out there. And I'm not going to name the company because some of the guys are real good at it, but they were coaches. And what they did is they spent, $12,000 to get this coaching certificate, had never coached anybody, never owned a business, never managed a business. And they're in there trying to say, hey, I'm a coach and I can help you. And you're like, really? I love the fact that people, like I just ran across somebody the other day that said, I'm a certified speaker. What does that mean, right? Certified speaker. I've been speaking for 40 years. I've been on, 1,000 stages. And so who certified you and why? What makes you a certified speaker? If you go to a National Speakers Association, they will put you through a program that lets you learn how to be a speaker. They still don't like it. You're not a certified speaker. You're not the National Speakers Association speaker. You are a presenter who knows a little bit more, right? But one of the big challenges is all the people who come in with these certificates. Hey, I'm a certified life coach. That means you took a 3-month course. That's all it means. So, yep, when she's got it right, when somebody else is vetting your expertise, you need to make sure you have all of your ducks in a row. And even more importantly, if I'm going to find somebody on that, she's already vetted them for you. You will be able to find qualified, quality people, organizations who want to genuinely help you grow your business. And that's why we're here, is so that you meet people like Joanne, so that you can get in touch with her. Joanne, what's your email, by the way?
You can just do info@linktoexpert.com and I'll get it. Info. Okay. Or J Weiland, JWEILAND @linktoexpert.com. But Steve, you have a good point. And some people, they really do need this, hire somebody that's certified just to qualify to, I kind of call it check off the box. Like a lot of executives have to do certain types of training every year with their staff. And then they do have to use a certified,
but they're certified by like the state, or they're certified by an organization. This is the legal part of what you have to do. And that's important to understand too. There's a legal part. Just because somebody says they're certified doesn't mean they qualify to like certify your people took this training in your state or your county. And that's important too, right?
Well, and it is, and that's why, but I just wanted you to know there's a place on your website when you join LinkToExpert where you can list your certifications too, because to some people, they really need that when they're hiring you, as well as some people that from all the times I've connected people, sometimes that is important to them. So, and what I've also learned, this is the biggest thing that I learned from all this, is many times in these types of projects, when corporations hire you, there is more than one person making that decision of why Steve would be the perfect coach. It's usually either a committee or a board of directors that's deciding. And everybody on that board has a different idea of what makes Steve the best fit for their project.
Absolutely.
So now with LinkToExpert, that's the other reason we created it all in one place. They can see all the interviews that Steve's been on different radio shows, on podcasts, and internet TV shows. And so that might be important to them. What we just talked about, the certifications might be important to them. Maybe it's who they actually worked with. So they might look at the testimonials, and a lot of people really want to watch the video testimonials, because then they really know this, Joanne really believes Steve's the right, person for that project that she hired for that in the past. Because so everybody has a different idea. Sometimes we find that, they want to see how many times you've been quoted in different magazines. You name it. I mean, but there again, everything can be listed in one place. So you, the expert, the coach, or the speaker, can upload things one time, and you don't have to always be checking your email to see if somebody wants this. They can just download it from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, how many times, go back to what we really need. How many times have I gone back into my email to try and find one of those testimonials? Again, you think you put it in a place and it's not in that place. You're like, well, right. I need a testimonial, right? I need a certificate. I need this. Where do I find it? Steve, I've got in my primary email, I still got 18,000 emails, and I eliminate 250 a day,
Wow.
Now I do have other locations for this stuff, but finding, it's like, where did I put that one under what subheading, right? So it's really important that when you know that you got on this portal, that if you're one of the suppliers, you will have all of your stuff right here all the time, every time you want it. So you know where to come back to. So if another company says, hey, I need this, you go, I'm going to go to my LinkToExpert profile and pull that off, right?
Exactly. And you upload it anytime you want. So when you just receive it, the best thing would be to upload it. And the same
Put
thing.
Put it in the right place to start with?
Yes. I know this can be challenging for you, but maybe Roberta could do it for you. But the other thing is, people don't realize too, this is really an important thing. Many people, as you know, you just described a Zoom call of 100, I think you said
124, I think, ballpark. Yeah.
We're on there. How do you really get to know these people? How do you stay in front of them? So you meet them, but with our platform too, what we did was when you meet them, just put their name and email in there, or send them a link that they can opt in to your LinkToExpert platform, because that way, every time you do, like now, have an interview with Steve, I'll upload it. It'll automatically get distributed to my tens of thousands of people. But the other beautiful part is you also get that information distributed to every one of our members, people. You don't get each other's contact, but that's how we reach hundreds of thousands.
And I'm not even going to get into cost with you right now. If somebody wants, we got to wrap this up. I told her I'd have her on here for 30 minutes. We're pressing that right there. If you want to know the cost, either the cost to use the system, or you want to get the cost to become part of the system, get in touch with her. You can get in touch with her at let's go with info@linktoexpert.com. So if you want information, write to her at info@linktoexpert.com, or just go to linktoexpert.com, look over the system. I'm sure there's information where they can reach out for more information, right, Joanne?
And they can call 727-791-7338. That's 727-791-7338. Because if they're old school like me, they like to talk on the phone.
Okay, now that everybody's reaching for their pen, the number again is 727-791-7338. 7338. So you guys should have that. And if you don't, reach out to me, steve@stevesapato.com. I have that information now in front of me, so I can certainly give it to you. Joanne would be more than willing to help you with that. If you forgot, info@linktoexpert.com. LinkToExpert.com. That's LinkToExpert.com. It's been a real pleasure. I sure appreciate you being on the show today. If you're really looking to change your business, upgrade your business, there's nothing better than reaching out and finding out more how to do that. She doesn't high pressure you. She's not going to twist your finger until you give in. She's going to say, here's what we offer. Here's what you probably need. You either need our help finding somebody, or you need to be found. And that's important, that you now have both opportunities sitting in front of you on LinkToExpert.com. Piece of advice, and then we'll wrap this up.
Well, when we started with automate, eliminate, and delegate, a lot of people don't realize they can eliminate a lot of BS that they don't really need to do. Our system automates it all for you, and you can also find different people to delegate it to so that you can focus on what you do best.
That's really cool. Finding out what you do best and making sure you get the opportunity to do it, and not spend 5 hours a day doing all the mundane stuff that drives you crazy. Find your strength, eliminate your weakness, right? Automate your weakness, delegate your weakness, and become the leader that you're supposed to be. I'm Steve Sapato. This, again, is Speaker Talks podcast for speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs. And if we can be of any help to you, please reach out to me, Steve@stevesapato.com. I hope you have a blessed week. God bless.